In a world where the truth isn't always what it seems, four masters of real estate step forward to help put the E first in the word true. TREU. Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. And now, here's the Fantastic Four of Real Estate with their host, Tom Platania.
Right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. I'm Tom Platania, your host, and boy, we got an exciting show for you today. We've been looking forward to doing this show for a little while, and especially these four guys over here, because it's gonna be a Mike Tyson versus Holyfield debate today here on TREU Radio. As you know, Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed is here to help educate the listeners on buying, selling, or investing in real estate. And we have four of the top realtors in South Florida here with us in the studio. We have Mr. Andrew Sesta. Good morning, Mr. Sesta.
Good morning, sir.
Good. You look so debonair today.
Thank you, sir.
What happened?
New suit.
New suit.
Yeah, Men's Warehouse.
Men's Warehouse.
Men's Warehouse sale.
And I love going there. They take such good care of
That
you.
place is amazing.
It's amazing how different it is from when I try to buy a suit at Walmart versus
Yeah.
the Men's Warehouse.
Oh my God.
And next to him, we have the beautiful Carol Morgan. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, Tom. How are you today?
I am doing wonderful. Great day. I tell you, this temperature dropping like that is nice. You know, I walk outside with a pair of jeans and a shirt on. It's really hot out. I say, okay, I go back in and put shorts on. I walk outside with shorts on. It's 60 degrees outside.
High 70 today. That's not bad.
Yeah, that won't be that beautiful. And then we have next to her, we have Mr. Scott McAllister. Scott, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Good morning, my friend.
Did you have a good weekend?
Had a fantastic.
Yeah?
Had a great week.
Anything special?
No, just out enjoying the weather down here as opposed to what my friends are dealing with up in Chicago.
Oh,
I had to stop posting pictures of me at the tiki bar because I was getting defriended by a lot of people, so I had to cut back on that.
Jealousy.
That is funny. Yeah, it's yeah, I see those all over the Facebook, you know, and somebody will post the temperature, and then it was Andrew posted, oh yeah, 4 more inches. Yeah, that's a picture of the beach and the sand, and
Yeah.
and then we have Mr. Farouk Ali with us, who is back finally from his unfortunate scenario. How's everything going with the family?
Everything is going fine, thanks.
Good.
You know, as time goes by, we try to heal all wounds, but it really doesn't.
Yeah.
We got to keep our thoughts and prayers for those who've gone and those who are still with us, and wish everyone well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful. And
Yeah.
it's good when you have strong family. You know, when you have good family, you have a lot of
It's all about support,
Yeah,
really. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And so today we're going to be talking about buy versus rent. Is it right for you to buy a home? Now, it's the American dream, right?
Yep.
Isn't that what
Sure
everybody
is,
says?
yeah.
The
It
American
is.
dream, the beautiful house with the white picket fence and the 2.5 kids, which I never understood the half a kid thing, but I don't know. Is that for the ones that you don't know about? Or,
Or admit to.
or admit to, exactly.
How would you know that?
Oh, that's
I hope my
classic.
mother's not listening.
Oh, that's classic. So what we're going to do is, if you'd like to call into the studio at any time and you have any questions for us talking about the show today, buy versus rent. Should you buy a home versus, well, maybe is it just not the right time in your life, and should you rent? And you can give us a call here at the studio at 220-9788. That's 772-220-9788. And we're going to kind of walk you through the details. And you've probably never have had this. You know, we're going to break the numbers down. We're going to break the concepts down. And we're really going to help you understand. And then you get to really, you know, knowledge is, they say knowledge is power. Well, I say knowledge isn't necessarily power. It's what you do with the knowledge that you receive that's the power. You know, because I can tell you anything you want to know, and yeah, you've been educated, but what do you do with it? Do you sit on it? Do you write it on a piece of paper?
Well, no, that's actually a really good point. Knowledge is empowering.
There you go.
Right.
I like
But you're
that.
right. Power comes from the actions.
Exactly. Exactly, and it makes a huge. So we want to give you that. We can lead you to. We could lead you to the water trough, but we
can't
can't
make you drink.
Can't make you drink from it. But at least you have the knowledge and the education from what we're going to talk about on the show. And this is going to be fun because these guys, I gave them all of my notes on how we were going to set the show up, but they're being real secretive. So it's going to be if you hear my head hit the desk here, you'll know that it was a knockout punch.
That's what we do for our clients.
As long as there's no biting.
That's it. That's the difference between having a realtor represent you and a FISBO like yourself. So we get the information and then we use it against you.
A FISBO? What's a FISBO?
For sale by owner, for rent by owner. Should have got a realtor by owner.
Oh, well, real quick, it looks like we have a guest on the line with us. We have Chris. Chris, the mortgage guy, on line 1. Hey, Chris, how you doing today?
Good, gang. How's everybody doing?
Awesome.
What's up, Chris?
This is Chris with Fidelity Funding Mortgage, right?
Yep.
Yep. And, I want to throw a little twist back on that knowledge is powerful and power. When we dig in a little bit more, I'm going to show you how knowledge is going to give you the power to become more powerful and complete more things in your life. But I just wanted to be the first one to welcome your head to the desk. because remember when you said everybody was being secretive? Well, Andrew 3 days ago called me.
Oh, that's not fair.
And he goes, hey, real quick, I got a quick question for you. And man, if I got out of that desk any higher and got more excited, I think I would have went through the ceiling. So we might have the deck stacked a little bit against you.
So are you saying that you're actually bringing pleasure to yourself by being a part of this?
You know what? I think I got. One of the things that's really cool about the dynamics about what goes on here is a lot of times people really do not understand how much of a team that you have when you have one of the realtors that are sitting on this panel. They have a whole team behind them, and whether it's something about moving or mortgages or insurance or whatever it is, these guys, they climb on the phone really quickly and like, hey, you're helping me. And because we do so much business with them, like when Andrew called me the other day, he's like, you're helping me right now. It didn't matter what I was doing. It wasn't my option.
Right.
It was, okay, I'm helping you. What are we doing? And then he told me.
And then you were all over that. You're right. Oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the things that the listeners really do need to understand is the amount of knowledge that these guys have, not only themselves, but with their team, is crazy. And I think it's unparalleled, and you will not find that with just any realtor. And like Andrew said, a for sale by owner, they don't have a team.
Right.
They have a goal. Their goal is to get as much money as they can out of that house, period. That's it, end of story. So
But with no experience.
Exactly. And when an issue or a problem pops up, or the ability to take a radio show and host and make his head smack down on the table, they don't have the ability to do that.
Right. They can't reach out like we can.
Yeah. So right now I'm just sitting here salivating, waiting for my turn.
Just sit back and watch the show.
And literally, you get to watch the show. Of course, I have to pan the camera around a little bit so you can see me fall. But
Maybe I'm going to be the mediator amongst all of you guys.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're the closest there.
Yeah.
now, what I did is the information that I gathered this information from the standpoint of what an average homeowner could do. I didn't cheat and contact any, any specialist or anything like that. I figured, okay, if I'm a regular homeowner or I'm a renter and I'm out there thinking to myself, okay, where can I go? Well, of course, I'm going to go to the internet. So I used all of the.
And that was your first mistake.
That was my first
You should have
mistake.
came to a realtor, and we could have.
That's exactly.
Put you in the right direction anyway.
It's exactly, and that's one of the points of the show today. Is as they effortlessly beat the heck out of me during this show, you're going to understand why it's so much easier to have one of them on your side. I mean, it's like kind of going to a murder trial that you didn't commit, and saying, "Hey, I'm going to represent myself." I don't want an attorney.
Right.
And then you got 10 of the best attorneys or 4 of the best attorneys in the world on the other side prosecuting you. Okay, well, that's just a death sentence. I mean, you know.
You knew this was coming.
Exactly. So hey, I like that, though. You know, I love
You like the challenge,
I like
of
a
course.
challenge. You know, I love a challenge. And, you know, every once in a while, it's good to be knocked out. You know, kind of puts you back in your place. So here's the scenario that we're going to go ahead and set up for you today, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we're factoring in maybe a 2 or 3 bedroom house. And we're factoring in a value of about $173,000. Now, the reason that I used that dollar amount is that was actually kind of a national average overall of the home value right now. So I wanted to kind of stay as consistent as possible. So the home is about a 2 or 3 bedroom, and it could vary. $173,000. Now we're looking at a standard mortgage of a 30-year fix. Now, once again, pulled this up online. They look like they were right around 4.5%. You know, they change daily. And taxes, I kind of looked around at some different homes, and I tell you, they vary so much. You guys know this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see houses from $1,000 to houses up to, you know, even in that price range in the areas to $6,000 or $7,000. Just
Well, the homesteading makes a big difference too.
Yes, it does, exactly. So I kind of just used an average of 3,000, and it could be less, it could be more. Does that sound fair?
Well, it's got to do with location of the property as
Right.
well.
Right, and obviously this is all
that
generalized.
really determine
yeah.
what the taxes will be.
And
I think
that's-
it works for the argument, though.
Exactly, yeah. And
Works
to-
really good for the argument.
Yeah, go ahead, laugh it up, Chris. Laugh it up.
You with
Hey,
us, Chris?
He's done his homework.
is
by
there
the
any
way.
way you can shut the phone off? Or...
I thought you were about to say something totally different. I was like, "Where's the dump button?"
Hey, somebody get him a pillow. It's coming.
All right, so now the insurance, I actually made a phone call to one of our partners, and you know, she kind of gave me a ballpark average of what the house, about $1,600 for insurance. And she said, now what we're going to do is also going to look at, you know, we're doing some statistics. 58% of people live in their homes less than 10 years. Now that statistic has actually decreased over the years. So if you go back 3 or 4 or 5 years, that percentage was actually much higher. It was almost into the 60s, 65% as the years. So it seems that people are staying in their homes longer, which is a good thing. To your point, they're staying in their homes longer. But I'm using a number of 10 years because that was kind of just the breaking point of going over the 50% of homeowners versus renters. So that's kind of the scenario that we're going to set up. So, I mean, are you guys, Andrew's over here just smiling away. It's like he's feeding me information just to throw himself into the pitbull pit, right?
Exactly.
So do you guys want to add? You want to take away? You want to set anything up for this differently?
No, that's
it.
good for me. I don't know about you guys. That'll work.
All right. Well, since we have the scenario set up, the buy versus rent, we're going to go ahead and take our first quick break, and when we come back, we're going to I don't know. Let's maybe we'll hear the buy side first, or no? You guys want to hear the rent side, so you can just start beating me up, right? All right. You're listening to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. I'm Tom Platini, your host, here with the Fantastic Four: Andrew Sesta, Carol Morgan, Scott McAllister, and Farouk Ali. We'll be back in just a moment.
Customer service and great rates. That's what you get with Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Remember, everyone's just one torrential downpour away from a flood. And with rates as low as $129 per year, why would you not get coverage? Call 772-233-4444 or email flood@atlanticinsurance.us and save hundreds on all your insurance needs. That's 772-233-4444, 233-4444 for Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Are you selling your home? Wondering how you're ever going to move all your belongings? Well, don't wonder. Call the trusted moving professionals from Mr. Small Move. Their staff of full-time movers are ready to take the stress out of your next move. Mr. Small Move will safely pack, move, then place and assemble your belongings at your new location. So if you're moving, call the trusted professionals at Mr. Small Move. For a free estimate, call 283-5540. That's 772-283-5540 for Mr. Small Move. Has a recent foreclosure, bankruptcy, or short sale spoiled your credit? Fidelity Funding may be able to help. Their hometown lenders are specially trained to work with your credit history to find the perfect loan program and get you back on track. Even if credit is no problem, Fidelity Funding offers many dynamic loan programs. Call Fidelity Funding on the Treasure Coast at 772-237-5211. They work day in and out with realtors in your community to find you the house you love. Call 237-5211 for Fidelity Funding. Every 13 seconds, a home intrusion is committed in the United States, with property loss totals in the billions. Take action today to prevent it from happening to you with ADT, protecting homes and businesses for more than 136 years. Protect Security is your authorized ADT dealer on the Treasure Coast. Call Richard Stratman today at 772-708-2691. Protect Security and ADT, offering peace of mind security 24/7. Call today, Protect Security, 708-2691. Dramatic change invites invigorating new energy. Let Decorating Den Interiors create a dramatic change in your home's decor. They'll create a look that's important to you. Begin your home's gorgeous transformation by calling Decorating Den Interiors on the Treasure Coast at 692-8589. Visit their waterfront design studios on Southeast Osceola Street, downtown Stuart, and online at stewartdecorator.com. When you buy a home without a housemaster inspection, things can break down without warning. When things break down without warning, you get angry. When you get angry, you may commit acts of random violence. When you commit acts of random violence, you could do hard time. Don't do hard time. Call Housemaster for your home inspection needs. 772-336-2111, or visit them on the web, stlucy.housemaster.com.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jensen Beach, Hope Sound, Martin County's Heritage Station.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. TREU Radio. I'm Tom Platania, your host with the fantastic floor of real estate here. And today we're discussing buy versus rent. What is right for you?
Buy.
Buy.
Absolutely.
Subliminal message. Buy.
Yeah.
Buy. Should have had that in the background. 772-220-9788. And we have one of our expert partners, Chris, with Fidelity Funding Mortgage on the line. And, you know, I really don't... I really think, and as I sit back and I know what little bit I know about Andrew, I have a feeling that Chris isn't necessarily here for professional support. I think Chris just really wants that free front row seat to just watch me fall. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, because
and the best part is he's sitting outside in his car right outside the studio because he wants to see you when you walk out of
He
here.
wants to see me staggering. All right, so what we did is we set it up buy versus rent, 2 to 3 bedroom home, $173,000 value, 30-year fixed mortgage if you were to buy this home. And what we're doing is we're using these numbers so that we can come up with a mortgage. Now, the mortgage that I came up with was right around $867 a month. That was just for principal and interest only. Once again, using internet calculation stuff. Well, on top of that, you have to factor in, well, you have taxes. You have to factor in, you have insurance. Now, you take those, obviously, $3,000 a year, $1,600 a year for insurance, divide them by 12, add those to your mortgage payment. But there's other things that you have to consider, too. Now, the national statistic says that if you own a home, an average of 2% of the total value of the home is required for maintenance over a 10-year period of time. Okay? So we got to keep that into fact. Now, do you guys find that is pretty standard when you're out there?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So what I came up with is if you add all that stuff together, the total cost of the home is going to be $193,677, okay, in 10 years. Okay, that includes all of your principal, interest payments, taxes, all that stuff. Now, that doesn't factor in any tax savings. That doesn't factor in any value that may increase or decrease. Well, for that same home, same style of home, I could go out and rent that home for $1,200 a month. All right? Well, I don't have any taxes that I got to throw on top of that. I don't have any insurance that I have to throw on top of that. I could do renters if I wanted, but I don't have to. I don't have any maintenance because if you're renting, typically depends on if you're renting a home or a condo or something, you have zero maintenance costs. You don't have to mow the lawn. You know, if something breaks, you don't have to fix it, so you have nothing. So it's basically $1,200. So, but that equals up to $144,000. That's a difference of where'd my number go here? That's a difference of wait a minute, I lost my number. Looks like 73,000. No, is that 73,000? Nope, I lost my number. Sorry about that. Oh, I'm sorry, $49,677 difference. I apologize. There's my number. So over a 10-year period of time, rent versus buy, you would actually have lost $49,677.
Just tell me when you're done.
We're waiting for it. Yeah.
All right. That's my starting point. I'll let you guys go from there. So go ahead.
Okay.
Do you want to go first, Chris?
I definitely want to go first.
Okay.
I'm climbing out of my
I
chair.
know.
Okay, first off, I will tell you this. The one that you have a couple flaws, but let's take this back and we'll go chronologically. Okay? Ben Franklin has a saying, okay? People don't fail to plan. They don't plan to fail, they fail to plan.
Right.
Okay? So you're saying that they're going to save that extra money. Okay?
Right.
If I had $1 for every customer that came into me and said to me, okay, well, I've been sitting in my house and I haven't made a mortgage payment because I know that they're going to get foreclosed. So I'm thinking in the back of my mind, okay, good. So you haven't paid a mortgage payment for 2 years. You have money saved, correct? No, they have no money saved. So the money that you quote unquote saved, where is it? That's number one. Number two, I'm going to tell you there's a giant flaw in your ointment there, and that is you're not going to find a $173,000 home for $1,200 a month.
Exactly. Not around here.
No, because what happens is this, and this happened to me. I had a house. I moved out of the house. I didn't know what I wanted to do with the house, and I got smacked with a much bigger insurance bill. Well, what did I do? The first year, I ate it. But the second year, I said, I'm not eating this anymore. So I went back to the renter and said, guess what? I'm raising your rent because the insurance bill went up, and here's a copy of it.
Well, to that point, the $173,000 home with taxes, insurance, and maintenance and everything on it actually comes to $1,614. Okay.
So
The $1,200 was a principal interest, and just kind of finding a home in that dollar range.
Right, but I'm telling you, as an owner of a home that's going to rent it out,
Landlord.
I'm not renting it out to you, Tom Platania, because you're a good
Right.
guy.
You're
You
not,
signed
but
it
it's
on the radio
online.
for a loss.
But it's
I'm not doing
online,
it.
actually. That's where I got it. I went to multiple
No problem.
websites to look it up.
No problem. So today it's $1,200.
Right.
What is it in 2 years? What is it in 3 years? Because
Right.
I'm telling you right now, what's going to happen is those same investors are not going to sit there and be below the market
And
rent.
what would you guys as realtors, what have you seen in the market as that a landlord typically would increase? What percentage?
Well, I did some calculations myself, just real quick.
Did you do them, or did you have one of your assistants?
No,
do 'em?
this one I did here, and taking that scenario at 173,000, whoever the owner is for that house,
Right.
if you do the calculations, that's at a cash on cash return. That's a negative 11.5%. So they would never be able to rent you a $173,000 house with the numbers that you suggested at $1,200, because they'd be losing $4,402 a year. You're not going to find that. So that $173,000 house, in theory, is going to cost you about $1,600 to $1,700 a month to rent. There's no way that someone's going to take a loss to rent you the home. Number one.
Okay.
So that those numbers are just totally not correct. Now, take that same. Now I'm going to give you a real life scenario. Let me get my paperwork real quick.
Now, once again, for the audience,
Now this is
I actually went online. Okay.
and that's where you made your first mistake,
Right.
And
because you didn't get the accurate information.
Right. Well, what I did is I actually went and found houses that were for sale. Okay. In that price range, I took the square footage. I took the 2-bedroom, 3 bedrooms, and then I went back online to different websites, our websites, and took those same scenarios, same square footage, same, and I found a home within those ranges for that rental, and that's how I came up with the number.
But like I said, they would be losing $4,000 a year by doing that.
It all depends
Can I
on
throw-
how
can
they
I throw
own the
in one-
house, though, right?
Can I throw in one thing here?
Sure.
Because this is a very, very important thing. Because I had a person sit in front of me 72 hours ago that had a similar situation. And what happened was this. Now, this is the difference of going online and working with a realtor. The person went in, rented the home. 24 days later, they were served with
Papers.
foreclosure notice.
Yeah.
The person that was renting the home didn't care what they were getting because they weren't going to own the home long enough.
That's true.
So now what I want to know is this. How long does the average person rent?
2 years.
Okay. So in the 10-year cycle, the person is going to have to move 5 times, correct?
And I have those calculations too
possible.
right here.
That is
Those were forgotten about.
I
Those
want
were,
to jump in on this conversation and say, hey, can I please have the name of all those renters that are renting on the internet?
Farouk, Scott, what do you got? You guys are out there. What do you see?
You know, there's a few things. You asked about the increase of rent. It's
Right.
like 10% annual.
Oh, it is that
Yeah,
much.
But 10% annual
Sure.
and the raise of the rent. The other thing too is that sometimes landlords subsidize their rent, especially in the location the property could be in terms of what is the going rate for rent.
Right.
So you may find that they do have a mortgage unless it's an all cash property they bought all cash. The thing is that what happens a lot of times is that they cannot recoup the money they spend to carrying charges to carry the property.
Okay.
So they will have to subsidize it by taking a lower rent. And the only reason why they take the lower rent because it's probably the market rent for that location at the time. Because take a given situation. Normally in a going up market, the property could be rented, let's say, for $1,500 a month. But because of what is happening now in our marketplace, the going rent in that area could only be, let's use your scenario, $1,200.
Right.
So there is no way for an owner to keep the property vacant trying to get $1,500 a month.
Right.
Because every time you loses a 1 month rent, you really set back. Because you're better off taking the $1,200, subsidize it,
Right.
and if your current charges is really $1,500 and you don't have a positive cash flow, well then what you do is that to cover your current charges, you put in the $300 until the market picks up,
Right.
Your equity goes up in the property,
Right.
and as the equity goes up and the price point starts to change,
Right.
what really happens is that your rental goes up.
Okay.
And that is where that 10% comes in because it's in your lease. And as
I
you know,
see.
we can only do 1 year lease and then we do the renewal. And then you do the renewal and you get the 10% going up.
So it's not as simplistic as just the
No,
$1,200.
not
No,
at
it's
all.
not.
I mean, 'cause
And-
I know from I lived in before I moved down here to Stewart. I lived in Tradition, St. Lucie West. There's a place out there, and I actually rented a 1,900 square foot home in a gated community for $1,000 a month.
Should have stayed there.
I should have,
Yeah.
but
But-
you know,
but
the
number
divorce
w-
and separation, everything like that. You know, all that good stuff.
right, but like Farouk was saying, there was a lot of people out there were just trying to stop the bleeding.
And that's probably
Yes,
what this
exactly,
day was
yes,
doing.
yes.
for maybe 1 year.
And if I went back, to that,
Right.
because they hardly raised the rent, but if I went back now, they were probably renting it out for 13, 14, 15,
I'm
1600.
sure.
But my example I was making
Exactly.
with my spreadsheet was, how long are they going to lose that $4,000?
Exactly.
It's not going to be so. The issue is with home ownership. The numbers. Even if you use the numbers minus the rental, because I think that was very low. Even if you use those numbers, those are predictable numbers.
Right.
But like Farouk said, when you're renting a place, you're at a year by year.
And you have zero control.
You have zero control. So next year they could say, you know what, Tom, I need you to move out because my daughter's going to move in, or,
Right.
the taxes just
Can I stay
double,
there
or
with her?
Right.
Is she
or
single?
or like we talked about with our insurance people, flood insurance just doubled, Tom. So now I'm going to have to charge you because it's a pass off.
And you have nothing to
And
nothing to say. Or
no,
move
and then,
out.
are you going to go move? And then your moving expenses. I mean, just quick calculations. Every time you move, it costs you $1,800
Right.
between the truck and the application fees, and if you've got a pet, there's a $250 pet deposit. So, those 10 years, it's an unknown. But in home ownership, you know what it is. You know, you're locked in your interest rate.
Right.
You know, for a 30-year
correct.
fixed. If you're locked into a home for your taxes, the Save Our Homes program, that can only go up 3% a
Right.
year. You know, the only big variable is the insurance, but you pretty much know what's going on. And you know that you're not going to get that knock at the door from the cops telling you, hey, well, they just foreclosed on the property and you've got 48 hours to vacate. You know, so there's a lot, you know, there's home ownership is stability, and you know what the future
Right.
pretty much holds.
All right.
You know, there's a couple other things, Andrew, that really, really, really have come to light, and I think the last point that I'm going to make was a point that was made last night by my dad.
I like the first one better. The last point you're going to make.
Well, the first one is this. The first one that I would say is this. Any listener out there that has been renting for the last 4 or 5 years, what I want you to do is take a look in your bank account and tell me how many dollars you have sitting there. And I'm going to guess it's not
$16.27.
Well, it's not going to be the It's not going to be the $20,000 that you save. That's number one. The second thing that I would say to any person that's a renter out there, right now it's tax time, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to do me a favor. If you haven't gone to your accountant yet, or if you have gone to your accountant yet, take a look at your tax return and see how much money you wrote off for rent. Oh, that's right. You can't write off rent, but you can
Zero.
write off the interest deduction on a mortgage.
However,
And your
if you
taxes.
own your own business, your home-based business, and you're renting, you can deduct a percentage of your rent, utilities, and tax and things of that nature for your
can.
business
And if you
expenses.
get
That I
more
know.
That is true, but it's also
That
the
is
number
true.
one red flag for
very
being
big red
audited.
flag.
Exactly.
I have never claimed that. I have never claimed it because it's not worth the money to
Yeah.
put that red flag up.
And you could only use 200 square feet of
Yeah.
space in your home. As
Right.
well.
Yeah, I do that every year, but yeah, it's only a small
But
portion.
basically, Tom, I mean, you know, there's a right situation for each person. I mean,
Right.
there's a time to rent and there's a time to buy. But if you're talking about investment into your future,
we got Scott dancing over here.
and that's why home ownership is the the American dream, is because you buy today, and like my mom, for instance. My mom, God bless her, just turned 70. We're having a party for her.
God bless her.
Awesome.
She
Friday,
had
happy
you.
birthday, Mom.
All
Happy
right.
birthday.
And she grew up during tough times, and she didn't have the professional job, so she's living off of Social Security. It's about $900 a month, but thankfully she was able to pay on a mortgage for all these years, sell her property, take the equity, buy a condo cash, and now she's able to live. Had she been renting all these years, she'd be living in one of our homes. She would be homeless. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
no, absolutely.
So it's
No, she'd
it's
be living
for
with you.
it would be it's the future that you look at, and thankfully, my family all came over as immigrants with nothing, and now they all are in homes that are paid for, and through hard work and dedication and staying in those homes for, years and years in New York and moving here and buying them cash. They wouldn't have been able to do that with rentals. So, yes, I agree with you, Tom. I mean, there is a time and place for rentals.
Right.
And sometimes it's not the right time to buy. And we do tell our customers that, especially you're moving into an area, you don't know where you're going to work, you don't know if you're going to like it. Yeah, rent for a year, see what you feel, see what the school system's like, that kind of stuff. But as far as an investment into your future, that's where buying is.
Yep, that's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take another quick break here. When we come back, you think I'm done? They haven't beat me up yet. I still got some more stuff in my firepower. You're listening to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. I'm Tom Platania. We have Farouk Ali, Scott McAllister, Carol Morgan, and Mr. Andrew Sesta. And we'll be right back.
Customer service and great rates. That's what you get with Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Remember, everyone's just one torrential downpour away from a flood. And with rates as low as $129 per year, why would you not get coverage? Call 772-233-4444 or email flood@atlanticinsurance.us and save hundreds on all your insurance needs. That's 772-233-4444, 233-4444 for Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Are you selling your home, wondering how you're ever going to move all your belongings? Well, don't wonder. Call the trusted moving professionals from Mr. Small Move. Their staff of full-time movers are ready to take the stress out of your next move. Mr. Small Move will safely pack, move, then place and assemble your belongings at your new location. So if you're moving, call the trusted professionals at Mr. Small Move. For a free estimate, call 283-5540. That's 772-283-5540 for Mr. Small Move. Has a recent foreclosure, bankruptcy, or short sale spoiled your credit? Fidelity Funding may be able to help. Their hometown lenders are specially trained to work with your credit history to find the perfect loan program and get you back on track. Even if credit is no problem, Fidelity Funding offers many dynamic loan programs. Call Fidelity Funding on the Treasure Coast at 772-237-5211. They work day in and out with realtors in your community to find you the house you love. Call 237-5211 for Fidelity Funding. Every 13 seconds, a home intrusion is committed in the United States, with property loss totals in the billions. Take action today to prevent it from happening to you with ADT, protecting homes and businesses for more than 136 years. Protect Security is your authorized ADT dealer on the Treasure Coast. Call Richard Stratman today at 772-708-2691. Protect Security and ADT, offering peace of mind security 24/7. Call today, Protect Security, 708-2691. Dramatic change invites invigorating new energy. Let Decorating Den Interiors create a dramatic change in your home's decor. They'll create a look that's important to you. Begin your home's gorgeous transformation by calling Decorating Den Interiors on the Treasure Coast at 692-8589. Visit their waterfront design studios on Southeast Osceola Street, downtown Stuart, and online at stuartdecorator.com. When you buy a home without a housemaster inspection, things can break down without warning. When things break down without warning, you get angry. When you get angry, you may commit acts of random violence. When you commit acts of random violence, you could do hard time. Don't do hard time. Call Housemaster for your home inspection needs. 772-336-2111, or visit them on the web, stlucy.housemaster.com.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jupiter, and Indiantown, Martin County's Heritage Station.
All right, welcome back to TREU Radio, TREU Radio. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, you can go to TREUradio.com, TREUradio.com, where you can actually watch our realtors in the studio as they provide this browbeating to me on buy versus
Can we
rent.
turn it towards you so they can see you squirm? That'd be far more
See, that's
entertaining.
what the great thing about this webcam is that they can only see my arms. So, but TREUradio.com, 772-220-9788. If you have a question about buy versus rent, maybe you are renting a home right now and you're right on that tusk of maybe deciding to go with the purchase of a home, give us a call here at the studio. Kind of, you don't have to tell us your name or whatnot. Kind of walk us through your scenario, and we'll talk about it. I mean, what better? We got Chris, the mortgage guy, on the phone with us. We got 4 of the best realtors in South Florida on here. What better place to come right now than to give us a call here at the studio? 772-220-9788. All right, so going back here to the buy versus rent, you guys had a couple good points there, but you talk about what people, what they may do, what they won't do. Well, and you talked about possible increase of rent. All right, well, when we own a home, all right, the home could, increase or decrease in value, okay? Now, what happened in 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006? Boy, they skyrocketed, right?
Yeah.
And then what happened?
They fell.
Wah, wah. They dropped. I mean, they literally just 100% drop in value. So there's that. You're not going to have that in rental, obviously, because you have no value in the property. But you could take a house that you paid $170,000, like myself. I bought a house in Port St. Lucie. I paid $219,000 for it. Okay, it went up in less than a year. It went up to $309,000, right at the boom. Okay, 4.5 years later, I short sold the house for $110,000. That's what the value of the property was
At the time, of course.
at the time. Now, obviously, but you don't know. And that's the one thing about buying a home is that there is that. You talk about uncertainty with rent rising. There could also be that uncertainty with what's going to happen to the value of the home. Now, I hope that people have learned their lessons, especially some of the companies out there, so that that's not going to happen to us again. But the one other thing, you talk about, Chris, you talk about people not wanting to put their money away. Hey, somebody could take that difference of that, it's $414 difference between the $1,200 rent and the $1,614 mortgage with interest and everything.
The imaginary rent.
Imaginary rent.
Yeah.
Hey,
No, you know what? And I knew you were going to go there.
at the rental, at the place that I rent right now.
I was prepared for this.
At the place that I rent right now, you can actually get, it's a condo, but you can actually get a 3-bedroom, nice sized condo for under $1,200 a month. And the house that I was renting in Port St. Lucie, now of course that was a few years ago, was $1,000 a month. Regardless of it, you can find them. They're not going to be plentiful out there, but they can be found. But like you were talking about, is it could be something that maybe the guy can't even make his mortgage payment.
He's putting it in his pocket.
He's struggling,
Yeah.
right? So he's renting it out dirt cheap, and then a year later you find out you don't have a home.
Exactly.
Well,
Tom.
Here's the one thing I want to say, Tom. You bring up a great point, and I knew you were going to go down this path of if I took this extra money and I invested.
Oh, that had nothing to do with the notes that Andrew sent to you, right? It had nothing, nothing to do with that, right?
The reason why I'm bringing this up is this. This whole story is going to come full circle here, okay? Yesterday, I had a customer in my office, and he had a phenomenal opportunity to buy a commercial building for his bank. So he came in to me, and the guy was almost in tears. All the banks turned him down on a commercial loan. They're like, no way you can afford this commercial loan. So him and I started dialoguing a little bit. Long story short, the owner's willing to do owner financing.
Right.
All he needed was the 20% down. We're doing a cash out on his home. He's getting the 20%.
He didn't have the 20%.
Right. So I'm talking to my dad last night, and I tell him, hey, because we went out to dinner. My mom and dad are in town. I'm like Andrew. I like to be around my parents because they're getting older and appreciate their time. So I'm telling my dad the story. And my father said, I didn't make any money doing the gas station business. I made all my money from real estate.
Right.
And I said, well, what do you mean? Because I was a young kid at the time. My dad said, well, what happened was I had to do a loan on our home and a loan on my second home in Florida to take out enough of a mortgage to buy my gas station. Fast forward 6 years, there was a fight ensuing because what was happening was the hospital was growing in the area. So literally within a 4-day period, he had 4 realtors come in and it bid up the price of his gas station to $1.3 million for land value. So he said the only way I was able to retire, because having 4 kids, put them through college the whole 9 yards, is because I had the ability of the house to tap into that equity.
Right,
so
and that's why
I could continue my business.
And that's why buy versus rent. We talk about it. If you're going to be in some place over 10 years, there's no reason to even put the numbers in. It's a no-brainer. Absolutely, 150%. You're going to buy a house.
Right.
But it's for those people, like you say, that are under that time frame. And we talk about savings. You talked about the savings thing. If you actually put that $414 into a small minimal investment, right now, if you can't make 5% in the market between stock market or bonds or anything like that, then there's an issue. So that $414 would actually, in 10 years, would be worth $70,112.95 with compounding interest.
Except for the fact that
go ahead, Farouk.
Except for the fact
Hold
that my dad said the same comment.
Right.
He goes, I made $1.3 million on my business,
right,
and I lost $300,000 in the stock market because when the stock market tanked, the same time
Farouk, go ahead.
that
Hold
the
on.
real estate tanked, my dad got scared, pulled the money out,
Right.
and he lost $300,000.
All right, hold on one second. We got to go ahead, Farouk.
Yes, based on the fact of what we just discussed, with where the market went and where our prices are today, it's such a wonderful time for buyers to come into the marketplace now because of where the values are at.
Right.
The homes are affordable.
But the thing about it is that for our listeners and the general public, what they really need to know is that a lot of time people put the cart before the horse. And they get a realtor and they go out and they start looking at properties and do not even know what they're qualified to purchase. There's so many different factors that's involved. First, they need to know the location they need to be in. It depends on the school they want the kids to go.
Right.
So these factors are important. The other thing, too, is that they need to be counseled. And obviously, in counseling, the first step really is to meet with one of our partners or go meet with a mortgage person to see what you qualify for.
Right.
Because it's not only the principal, interest, tax, and insurance that's involved here. Because if you have folks like, as you do know, we have people that still live at home with their parents, and they're interested, obviously, they have the income and they want to go out and purchase, and they qualify based on those 4 factors. But when they purchase the home, what they're forgetting is that even we talk about that 2%
Right.
maintenance and all of that. But when you do own a home now, and you have the home, you open the refrigerator, there's nothing in there. It's not like when you were with mom and pop either. So there is so much additional overhead that you will incur when you have the property. When you purchase a property. So it's important that you meet with, one of our partners, like Chris at Fidelity, of course, with all his experiences he's got, to walk you through, know what you qualify for, because you need to know what your buying power are. You don't want to go and meet with a realtor and says, I want to look at home at $200,000, you only qualify for $150.
Right.
Then you're spinning our wheels.
Right.
So
But that's where you guys come into play, too.
everything works hand in hand, and obviously we do get people come to us first before they even go. But the whole idea is to send them first
Right.
to be pre-qualified and pre-approved, so that we can take them out.
And then once you get that, then you as great realtors can evaluate that as well and sit down with them and really, as you're showing them homes, really walk them through the mental process of what's going to happen out there, right?
And there are loan programs out there, Chris. Even Chris will tell you there's loan program at FHA. You can get in for 3.5% down. You can get real home loan with nothing down.
Right.
3% closing costs.
If you're
as
a
well?
VA,
Yeah.
guys, it's free. You can come in, you can buy a house almost for nothing. So there are programs out there, and that's where the people need to be educated on.
And-
Buy a home versus rent.
And the thing is, you've got so much of this information here, but one of the things that we understand also is the more esoteric aspect of it, the pride of home
That's a
ownership.
big
Right.
word.
Sorry, I'll get you a dictionary.
Yeah, slow that down for me.
But I mean, really, when I think about it, I rented for many years living in the big city in Chicago, had no choice. You could not afford to live in the city and own a house, a property, or it was $1 million. I couldn't
Right.
do that. That being said, I'm down here now. I want the pride of ownership. I want something that's mine, that I'm invested in, that's part of my future. And we understand that it's such a big thing to our customers that we're not just about the numbers. We understand how important it is and the emotions that go with it.
Right.
Right.
And I want to crank up my guitar smith with my electric guitar, and I want to jam as loud as I can possibly jam, and not have to worry about the guy upstairs calling the cops on me and going, "Hey, turn it down."
Well, there again, it goes. It's location,
called courtesy.
location, and your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So based on your lifestyle with the
Exactly.
location, you got to
Right.
put it together.
But I just want to throw a quick plug. We talked about your numbers were national, and you
Right.
got them off the internet. And I just want to let the listeners know, real estate markets vary from area to area. And just really quick, I just want to give you a quick scenario on what's possible in let's say, a Port St. Lucie.
Okay.
Can I do that real quick?
Absolutely, go right ahead.
So right now, if for your money, you can purchase a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500, 1,600, 1,700 square feet for about $110,000.
Oh wow.
Okay. At mortgage rates we quoted, 4.5. With Chris, I think it was 4.28 because he's such a great guy. The taxes, $1,200 a year, insurance, all that kind of stuff. But that home would cost you $900 a month, with using the numbers that you gave us, Tom, with your statistics, the 2%, the whole
okay,
nine
that's
yards.
with the taxes and everything.
The taxes and everything. Right now, rentals are hard to find. That
Yes.
same house
Right.
right now is renting $1,100 a month.
That's right.
Oh wow. Okay.
So you can actually save money from rent and have your own home and explore, the home ownership, like we were just talking
That's
about.
right.
Also the write-offs that come along with it. And stability to know that, you can play your guitar if you're in the right area, or stuff like that. So, right now is a great time to buy. And there's times that there isn't a great time to buy.
Right.
When the houses were $270,000,
Right.
you couldn't afford those mortgage payments, so you had to rent.
Well, it looks like I'm going to have to concede here, ladies and gentlemen, because he's got a point. It's all about time, and Chris, I want to thank you for being on the show. It's all about timing, but the key is finding the right people to partner with, the right realtors that could take this information and walk you through step by step so that you can make that right decision. maybe they'll tell you, hey, you know what, for the next year rent, then we'll find you a great place. You'll be in a better financial situation because you've gone and talked to Chris, and Chris has set you up on the right path. And in a year from now, you're going to have a home of your dreams. You're going to have that American dream. I can't find you the woman, but it's a start. But or the white picket fence of the dog, but it's a start. So I think that's the point of what we're trying to get here, guys. Is just
real quick, Tom.
we got 30 seconds left, Chris.
I want to challenge the listeners to do one thing: walk into your HR department and ask them, if I change my deductions and I add.
Gotta let you go, Chris. I really appreciate you. We'll get you next time. All right, so we'll finish up our show. I want to thank all the realtors and Chris for being on the show. Here's our Zig Ziglar quote to end the show. Some of us learn from other people's mistakes. The rest of us have to be the other people. Well, thanks for listening to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. I'm Tom Platini, your host. Carol Morgan, Farouk Ali, Andrew Sesta, and Scott McAllister. Have an absolutely great weekend.